You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. My name is Lance White, and I'm your host. Tonight, my guest is Pedram Shojai. Pedram is an acclaimed Qi Gong master, a master herbalist, and talented acupuncturist in Southern California. He comes from an unbroken line of alchemical masters of the Yellow Dragon Monastery in China, and is an ordained minister of that tradition. Having studied a variety of alchemical systems, Pedram uses his friendly teaching style to impart esoteric concepts to English-speaking audiences. He has studied yoga, meditation, Qi Gong, Tai Chi, Kung Fu, and meditation for years, and has taken sabbatical in the Andes and Himalayas. Pedram uses a no-nonsense approach to teaching the esoteric arts, and holds each student personally accountable for their own liberation and enlightenment. His 3 DVD series has been designed to walk the student through the basics of Qigong training and philosophy and segues them into highly advanced skills and applications. The 3D set is called The Alchemy of Qigong. Pedram conducts seminars and retreats around the world and is the founder of the Taoist Path School of Alchemy. He is also the president of Vitality Health and Wellness, Inc., an innovative integrative wellness group, as well as founder of www.well.org, which is an online community where wellness practitioners can network together via the Internet. Pedram will be conducting several seminars in conjunction with Sacred Mysteries Productions starting in 2010. So let's welcome this very talented and multifaceted being to the show now. Hi, Pedram. How are you?
Hi, Lance. Fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Before we delve into your life work, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Jay Weidner and Sharon Rose for their outstanding work in creating sacred spiritual cinema. They're creating the most profound and enlightening DVDs that are available anywhere in the world. One of my favorites is Time Wave 2013. You can explore the titles on their site at www.sacredmysteries.com. And if you want to go further down the rabbit hole, be sure to visit Jay's site, which is www.jayweidner.com. I highly recommend all of their amazing productions and writings. Well, Pedram, let's find out more about you and how you began your journey. Didn't you begin studying to become a medical doctor?
Yeah, I was on the traditional track, do what others have done and follow in great footsteps. And I worked pretty hard. I was ranked #1 in my high school. Went straight to UCLA and was on track to being a medical doctor. Had a number of experiences in my internship, thinking, these guys aren't very healthy. And so I spent some time doing some soul searching, found a Tai Chi teacher at the time, and through that found some Kung Fu instruction. Within the course of a few months, I had observed with acupuncturists and seen energy healers and all kinds of things that were completely foreign to me. And, what I saw, I couldn't understand. I couldn't prove. I couldn't explain what I had witnessed with these individuals, but I was hooked because I had experienced it for myself. I'd seen it before my own eyes and said, well, there's got to be something there. I got to know. And started a very interesting trajectory down the line of esoteric studies and, Taoist studies, alchemical studies, and what have you.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit about some of those things, the Taoist way? And I know most people are familiar with some forms of alchemy, but it it helps to have somebody who's versed in those things to explain what these mean.
Sure, absolutely, and it's kind of a fresh perspective, I guess I could offer, because having grown up in the West and being non-Chinese, I really went the gamut and studied with a number of Chinese masters, a number of non-Chinese masters, and so getting to figure out what these Taoist guys are talking about. Now, alchemy being the transmutation of lead to gold, the turning of our base elements into the refined spiritual awakening and the enlightenment that comes from that. Now, the Taoists are using a system based on the fundamental duality of yin and yang. They look at the entire universe and say, this thing, this creation, this all that is, that can't be described, is somehow expressing itself in this language of polarity, it's in this language of yin and yang, what's up without down, left without right, hot and cold. And taking that, they observe the nuances and the movement of these forces through nature, right? They observe the rising of the seasons, the rising of the sun in a given day, and they find that the expression of these forces of yin and yang throughout our given day, year, cycles of years have all taught them things. And after thousands of years of dedicated study and observation, what really became important was understanding how these principles applied within the human consciousness and within our personal energy fields. So the currency of this system, one would say, is this thing called Qi, which is basically a translation for energy. So we have these systems of spirit, essence, and energy being the currency between your physicality and your spirit, and really the language of life. And there's Qi in everything. There's Qi in all life. And so the Taoists began to study the interaction and the movement of this Qi energy, and through their understanding of breath work and through their practice of breath work, really developed a system of cultivation of Qi energy so that one can settle the mind, cultivate the breath, and then use the internal energies to wake up spiritual centers. And much like the Kundalini yogis, much like the Inca shamans, wake up the different aspects of one's spirit so that one becomes fully self-realized. So it's not very different than what all these other guys are talking about. It's just a slightly different system, but it's so well articulated and it's so well preserved that all you need to do is plug yourself into this system and do the work, and you start to immediately reap the benefits.
Okay, so now, as I understand it, it's I've seen people doing it outside, and it's a beautiful kind of artistic, slow motion kind of movement of, and I'm guessing here that it's movement of energy.
Yes, energy and breath, synonymous. Same in the Indian systems where one is working with prana, and the prana is the breath, and it works its way through the nadi, which are the subtle energy channels within the human body or the human bioelectric system. These individuals that you're observing out in the park are cultivating their breath, moving it through what we call the meridians, or the energy channels that run through the body, opening up the flow of energy, because and there's a lot of different theories and schools of thought about how to cultivate energy, like there is in anything else, but the premise being that what you really need to do is open up the smooth flow of energy, because blocked energy flow is where life force stagnates. Blocked energy flow is where the body starts to age, where disease is allowed to set in. So what you're seeing these individuals doing is opening up the flow of energy, cutting out what we call the impedance or the blockage to that flow, and in doing so, opening up their life force and their vitality for a synced union with the energies of what we would call the Tao, or creation of the universe around us. There's no lack of energy. You split an atom, you get so much energy out of it, and how many trillions of atoms do we have in the cells in our bodies? So it's perception of lack that comes, and so the Taoists teach us how to cultivate, compress, and understand the dynamics of this energy and use it to rejuvenate our bodies, to wake up our spiritual centers. And there's a number of different lineages. Taoists are very popular and famous in the lore for being wizards of old, and that becomes somewhat of a byproduct of the awakening and the understanding of how the dynamics of the energetic flow of the universe work. So what we have is this universe that we live in, which is the mystery of all mysteries. And the more we understand about ourselves, the more we understand the nature of this energy flow, the nature of how spirit moves, and then we stop fixating on the purely material, and we're able to do magical wizardry, which is a simple byproduct of understanding what this thing called reality really is.
Well, it seems as if those who are blocked would be subject to all kinds of maladies, and the worst one being the feeling of being cut off from nature and a lack of connectedness to all things.
Oh yes, I mean, if there's one thing I see the most in my clinical experience as a physician, is the root of the disease that most people are showing me is actually a disconnect from meaning in life, a disconnect from that flow or that force of energy that's all around us. So then they get into predatory behaviors, they get into vampirical behaviors. Hey, I'm upset with you because you didn't compliment me on my new hairdo. Right? All this nonsense that people get caught up in because they're needing to get their energy from somewhere else because they've cut themselves off from the source, which is this abundant geyser, the fountain of youth, which is just inside their lower bellies.
Wow. And then of course you have those who tend to want to control everything, and that's one of their ways of feeding off the system. And
and then we have the puppeteers. Yeah, sure. There's plenty of people who understand this and are leveraging that particular dynamic to their own advantage. Whether it's the car salesman who doesn't really understand it but knows that the guy walking in midlife crisis wants the shiny red Corvette, or all the way up along the spectrum of politicians convincing you that the world's a dangerous, scary place, so you need to give your personal liberties in order to be protected. And all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly happening today. There's no question about that.
Just watch the news.
And then we have the idea that the Earth is a body itself, a light body, and that the Earth has its own form of blood and spirit. And so, when you do this practice, are you able to connect to those energies much more easily?
You know what? You actually have to. Think of it this way: it's almost like a Russian doll model, right? We are in this great sphere of the universe, and within the universe, there's a subsphere of our galaxy, and in that subsphere, we're in the sphere of our sun, and on that, we actually have our feet on the ground of our planet, and all of these rings of connection are how we connect up back to the origin of who we are and what we truly are. And so connecting with this field of the earth, this living, conscious, the Sophia, as the Gnostics would call her, but the Taoists in their ancient lore and their practice, it's absolutely critical to connect your feet and your root up with the center of the earth, and then and then create a connection from your crown up to heaven or the center of the universe, center of the galaxy, however you want to connect up. And there's